Hey Glow Getters, it's your girl Ariel Rose, and welcome back to Grind and Glow. So today it is just me, but I have a topic that I've really been wanting to talk about, and so let's just get right into it. So the other day, if you haven't heard about the movie Fire, it's about this, what is it? It was about a festival that was supposed to be like bigger than Coachella. It was supposed to be like this really big deal, and I had watched it on Netflix. But my sister told me that there was the same documentary was on Hulu, but it was from a different view. And so I watched it on Hulu, and they said this term, and it's called FOMO. And so I had no clue what this was. And they explained in the video, they're like, FOMO is an acronym that stands for fear of missing out. It's spelled FOMO, fear of missing out. And apparently it's actually been in the dictionary since like 2013, but this was my first time hearing it like maybe a week or two ago. And it really made me think, because it is something that as millennials we're really, really into. Like, we just can't get over not being in a different place than where we are right now. And not just saying it's for a certain age group, but it's something that with the growth of social media has really, really had an impact on us. So if you want the definition of FOMO, it's really just an anxious feeling you have from not being somewhere that's more exciting, or something's happening elsewhere that you kind of wish you were a part of. So all of us kind of experience this over the weekend or whatever, from looking at all the pictures from the Met Gala, because of course we want to be dripping in diamonds and dressed in the most amazing designers clothing around the world. But obviously all of us can't be there. You can't buy tickets to the Met Gala, so it's just like, damn, I'm missing out. Damn, I wish I was there. But then at the same time, it's like, how did those people get there? Are you doing what those people did, to get there? And is that somewhere you truly, really want to be? Like, think about that. Sit down and be like, is that somewhere that I really would want to be? So, one thing is, like, we wake up in the morning and we check our IG, and we go to sleep after we check our IG. Like, whether it's Instagram or Twitter, regardless, like, we're on our social media hours and hours of every day. But allowing ourselves to buy the shiny new thing that everybody else has, or purchasing something just to, as the saying goes, keep up with the Joneses, it's just like, is it really worth it? That's what we have to think about. So, and another way it works is like how attached we are to our phone. Like, every time it vibrates, we jump to our phones. Like, even if for instance, like, I'll be in class and one of my professors did not want us on our phones at all during class. Okay, fine. But I would sometimes I'd leave it in my purse. Sometimes it would just be on my desk, because that's how I came into class. I can know that I cannot be on my phone, but that doesn't change the fact that every single time it lights up, my face turns towards my phone, because I'm like, oh, what notification did I just get? It's not even like a conscious thing. It's fully subconscious. It's just the fact that every time your phone lights up, you expect to look at it. Like, you're going to look at it. It's just going to happen regardless. But if you do that, if we allow ourselves in our regular day-to-day, in our classes, at our job, to be interrupted every single time our phone vibrates, or, we get a call in from someone, then it's messing up our own progress. And that's the last thing that we want to do, is mess up our own progress. So that even also goes into relationships in this huge surge of traveling right now. So y'all know I'm a huge traveler, but the thing is, I've been a traveler my whole life. Like, I've been really blessed to be with a family that we've taken family vacations since before I was even born, so it's kept up since you know, my whole life. And I think the fact that I have parents that aren't from the States, like, they kind of have a different outlook at traveling. So that's just always been something that's been part of me. But there's like this huge influx of traveling right now, and some countries actually cannot keep up with the multitude of people that are coming, and we have to think about how our actions affect other nations' actions as well. But anyway, I was talking about relationships. So, you know, a lot of us think, like, maybe we don't think this, but there are people that think, like, at least some females, I don't know how guys think, I'm not a guy, but, like, you go to college to find your husband, you come out of school engaged. Like, I know a lot of girls that have said that. I don't think that's necessarily my viewpoint of it. I wish Khadijah J was here, because I'm sure she would have a different outlook on it. But, you know, there's always the anticipation of the grass is always greener on the other side. So we want to be single so we can take solo trips around the world, get these dope ass pictures for IG, and, you know, just be on our own. We can go backpacking. I don't know who wants to go backpacking, but, like, you can do all these things when you're single. You don't have anybody telling you what to do. You don't have to tell anybody where you're at. Like, you can just do whatever you want whenever you want. Woo, I'm single, you know? That's, like, one side of the double-edged sword. And then on the other side, it's like, oh, I want to be in a relationship because only people in relationships, you know, can do certain things. Like, I want to be able to go on that romantic villa trip on the water and, you know, have rose petals everywhere, and I want to have that Valentine's Day trip and all this stuff that you think you can only do because all your girlfriends are in relationships and you want to be in a relationship too, so that y'all can all do couple dates and do double dates and all these other things. And you might end up in a toxic relationship just because you wanted to hang out with your friends and have a guy with you. And is that really worth it? Hell no. So that's the other end of the double-edged sword. So it's like, get into a relationship if that's what you want, if you're happy and it's healthy. If you want to be single because you feel like your independence is that important to you, be single. Do what you want, but do it for yourself. Don't do it for the satisfaction of other people. Just do what is best for you. It's not about being what society is telling you to be pictured as. Like, we're so trapped in our 20s and really, like, our young 30s, because there's all these expectations being thrown at us. There's everything that everyone's expecting us to do. We're expected to graduate in 4 years. We're expected to travel the world. We're expected to have a $80K job straight out of college. We're expected to know when we're going to have kids, know how to balance our health and our wellness and our anxiety and our day-to-day. Like, we have so much on us, and sometimes we're like, oh, other places have it harder. Yeah, they might, but we don't know what that's really like, you know? Yeah, there are people our age in other nations that are dealing with different things than what we're dealing with, but here today, what we're having to deal with, that's our reality, and that's our trials and our tribulations, and so that's the only thing that we can truly speak on. Yeah, so that was kind of a rant, but anyways. Yeah, so really, to get over this whole FOMO, like, extravaganza that's happening right now is, for one, admit you have this fear of missing out, like, exactly what it is. Like, what they always say, the first step is admittance. So the first step is really just being like, you know what? I cannot be everywhere at once, and that's okay. Like, the biggest part to take from that is that it's okay to not be everywhere. Like, we put up one of our daily inspirations recently, and it was like, you don't always have to be busy. And that's true. Take a minute. Like, it's okay to think about yourself, for real. But also, turn off your phone every once in a while. You know, first of all, it's good for your phone. Like, sometimes we just never let our phones die, and they just genuinely need to reset sometimes and restart and turn off and turn on. And just letting it die is something that we are so anti with. Like, we are so disconnected with a dead phone. Like, what? Our phone's on 1% and we're running, it doesn't matter where, to get our charger. We're running to the car, we're running to wherever to get our charger, to plug back up, so that we don't have a single second where we're disconnected. And in some instances, that might hurt us more than it helps us. I mean, there are some people whose entire platform and, I guess, well-being is off of their social media, but I would say like 7 or 8 out of 10 of us, that isn't the case. Like, we're not getting paid off of IG. Like, sure, we might have a few promotions that we might have, a few paid things that we get done off of IG, but the majority of people don't have IG or YouTube or Twitter paying their rent and paying for them to travel. Like, yeah, we see those people, but how big is that percent? Probably like 2%. Like, that's not normal. Like, that's not the average, day-to-day type thing. So to expect that, for one, is like, you gotta be the 2%, first of all. Are you doing what it takes to be the 2%? If not, also have that realization with yourself and realize if that is what you want, the steps to take to get there. And if that's really not what you want and you'd want a more low-key life than that, then let that go. It's okay to think you want things and then analyze it and realize in all actuality that's just not what you want. So turn off your phone every once in a while. Like, it's truly okay. And honestly, your phone will probably be better off for it. But like I was saying earlier, I started doing this thing and it's not very consistent, but I do try to keep up with it, that for the first hour when I wake up, I just don't touch my phone. If I have important text messages to reply to, I'll do that. Maybe if I have an email, I'll do that. But really, the purpose of me doing it is to refrain from going on social media from the first hour that I wake up. That's such a time to get right. When you wake up, you're preparing yourself for the day, and you could see something on Instagram that morning or on Twitter that puts you in a terrible mood for the rest of the day, and sometimes you may realize that's what it is, but sometimes you may not even realize that one post that you read or that you saw has you like anxious or upset or just in your feelings for the rest of the day. And then you're like, well, wish I hadn't seen that. But the what are they called, like algorithms, whatever the hell, that each social media has. Like, if you had gotten your phone an hour later, you may have never seen it at all in the first place. But I have noticed that days that I do that, I have such more peace of mind. Like, I'm more focused. I will like make a list of things I need to do in the morning. I have time to just listen to music, really like jam out, like get ready for the day, and just be prepared without having to feel like I need my phone next to me, and that's, another thing, like right before we go to bed, we're like, oh, let me check my IG right before I go to sleep. And we don't necessarily need to do that, like, just know when enough is enough. So if you can't do that, here's another thing you can maybe try. Try picking a time in the day when you can just submerge and immerse yourself in all the social media you want. So let's say you commute to work for an hour. If you want to fully emerge, and hopefully you're like riding the train or like carpooling or something. I don't necessarily want to promote being on your phone while you drive, but let's say you take the train. Apparently I'm talking to you in Atlanta right now. Anyway, to work for an hour. That can be your time, when you are fully checking up on all your Facebook notifications, you're checking on your IG, you're checking on your Twitter, you're doing everything that you want. And then for the rest of the day, you're free of that. You don't look at it, and you also don't feel like you're missing out on it because you already had your time. But another thing for competitive people like me that we can also try is, so iPhone has like that new thing where it tells you every week how many hours you spent on your phone, or like the screen time updates. And I used to never really care about that. Well, I guess because you didn't see the number before. But now I'm like, dang, I spent 9 hours on my phone this week. Like, that's hefty. And so now, like, I compete with myself. Like, I compete with myself to get the time down each week. And so if you're a competitive person, that might be the best route for you because you want to beat your own time, you know? So that's one thing that you can also do. But really, what would be great for us to do and for us to work on, because none of these things can happen overnight. You know, everything that takes progress takes time. You know, it takes progress, literally. So it's not that everything will happen at a flip of a switch, but that we're progressively taking the steps in order to get to where we want to be. But one thing I was going to say that we really, you know, need to start doing more so of is really just practicing mindfulness and a peace of mind. And that's really just focusing on the present, like focusing where we are right now and being happy with that. Not even necessarily just content, but truly being happy with where you are. Like, find that silver lining. Like, I mentioned that last week about finding your silver lining, but really, that's something that can just make all the difference. Just appreciating your current state of being, like, instead of yearning for what else could be or being somewhere else or whatever the matter might be. Like, major FOMO, like being, like having fear of missing out, doesn't always have to be what it really is. Like, honestly, sometimes there's a lot going on and you can find peace in not being there. Like, because I've done that. Like, sometimes and I've said it before, I can be like really introverted and I'll just be in my house and there's events that happen and I'll be like, man, I'm really happy I wasn't there. Like, not that like it's terrible things that happen, but I'm just like, I'm happy being where I am. Like, I'm happy chilling right where I'm at, you know? But it's really about learning to be comfortable with the idea of doing what you actually want to do instead of what you feel like you should be doing. Like I said before, we have all these expectations on us, like we should be here, we should be doing that, we should go there. And sometimes it's okay to just be like, you don't actually want to do those things. You rather do something else, and that might not be what everybody expects you to do, but if that's what you want to do, then who is anybody to tell you what you should or should not be doing, right? It's just about, like, instead of desiring, you know, stuff that you wish you had, being truly grateful for what you do have. You know, we take so many things for granted, and so many times we don't appreciate the things that we do have, especially until they're gone. You know, you hear that all the time. You don't realize how much you want something or how much you love something until it's gone. And that's really one of the best things about traveling to me, is that I've been able to appreciate so much more about what I have because I've seen what people lack. And it's things that I sometimes might take for granted, but you see that they're living their day-to-day life without all the trinkets and extra crap that we always have, that we don't even really pay attention to. Like, even simply hot water always being available to us, you know, there's just something about us having this higher level of gratitude that allows us to just be better people, for one, because you're not always pressed about what the next person has or what the next thing you want is, but just truly being happy with the blessings and, like, the things that have already been presented to you and that you currently have. Because with that, you have to know your priorities and you have to analyze them. And another thing is, you have to realize that if you're saying everything is a priority, then nothing truly is. So seriously, know yourself. That's like, oh my gosh, like, that's really what it is us gaining this deeper knowledge of self. And the thing is, we can never truly obtain it, in my opinion, because we're constantly evolving and constantly changing. That, you know, saying know yourself is so easily done, but in actuality, it's far more difficult than we make it out to be. But it's not to say it's not obtainable. It's just saying that you might not be the same person today that you were 2 years ago. And that might be for the better. And if it's not, then hell, in another 2 years, make it for the better. You know, it doesn't always have to be one way. But figure out your priorities. If you know there's something you absolutely need to do that you absolutely have been working for, put that first and know that nothing can hold you back from it, and that if that's something that you truly want and there's other things going on, you should not have FOMO about those other things going on, because you're so focused and you're so tuned in and you are so craving and desiring that one priority of yours or multiple that it doesn't even matter what in the world else is going on, because you're doing what you have to do to get your priorities straight. Enjoy your journey, you know. Focus on life-enhancing experiences rather than, you know, like certain possessions or symbols per se of success, because not everybody's vision of success is the same. And like, you can ask 100 people what their idea of success is, what their idea of happiness is, and what their idea of a good life is, and all 100 answers will be different in some form or fashion. Not a single one will be exactly the same. And so it's okay to not want, you know, this certain thing or want that certain symbol or that certain experience, because you do desire to have that life enhancing experience that is enhancing your life specifically, not just any and everyone, but it's doing it for you. So don't let FOMO and this fear of missing out hold you back, because FOMO will be the downfall to your success. If you're so focused on what's going on around you that you're not tuned into what you are doing and what you need to make happen in order to obtain the success that you desire, then you're playing yourself. Like, you're seriously kidding yourself. Don't regret living the life that other people wanted you to live or other people expected you to live, instead of living a courageous life that is truly the life that you want to live. That's really what you don't want to be on your deathbed or at the last, you know, years of your life and being like, wow, I have this and this regret and I wish I had done this and this and this. Be able to be, you know, in those later years and be like, I lived a courageous life, living the life I wanted, living the life that I know is true to me, that I created because it was my desire, as opposed to I lived the life that my parents, my friends, society, whoever and everyone else thinks that I should have lived. And with that, I'll close out. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media. We are on IG, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We are Grind&Glow Podcast on everything except Twitter. We're Grind&Glow Pod. Make sure you subscribe and leave us a review, very pretty please, on iTunes and YouTube. Subscribe to us as well. We love hearing your feedback. We are looking for a few people to interview at the time, so if you are desiring to get on the show, make sure you reach out to us. We are very responsive, either through email or if you want to DM us, we'll probably eventually move it to email, but whatever. Yeah, and with that, we love you, glow getters. Remember, the harder you grind, the brighter you glow. See you later, glow getters.